know. It's just that teams are not very used to putting that mirror on themselves and thinking about their team dynamics. And that's why I think it's so powerful.
Welcome to the International Institute for Facilitation's podcast, Spaghetti on the Wall. I'm Eileen Douse, Chair Emeritus and Director of Assessments for INIFAC. And today I'm joined by Hedvig Mossvall. She's a Certified Master Learning Facilitator and the Chief Growth Officer for GDQ. And this GDQ is something we're going to talk about today. And the topic for today is facilitating team development using GDQ, whatever the heck that is, we'll find out soon, which is this integrated model of group development. Welcome, Hedvig.
Thank you so much for having me. Super happy to be here.
Oh, and it's great to see you in video. You are in Sweden, so we have this distance between us. Excuse me. A lot of facilitators, when they're doing team building sessions, they'll do ropes courses or fun team building events or whatever it is. Yet that is more of an event. And from what I've heard from you is there's something else. It's the team process. You want to talk about that?
Absolutely. And great question. You already know this is a really important topic for me. So I'm a strong believer of team development and a bit of a skeptic towards team building. And I'm going to distinguish the two. And just like you said, team building being more of an event. And obviously you can as a facilitator support such an event. Which might aim for, having a bit of a laugh and having fun and potentially getting to know each other a little bit more. But team development is something else. That's something it's a design process where you consciously and deliberately support the team to grow and develop through the group development process and create real impact and real sort of, to be honest, return on investment on your intervention.
Right.
This is something that I'm super passionate about.
Oh, you and me both, actually. I think as facilitators, certainly we're trained in group dynamics, groups process. And we often think of Tuckman's model of forming, norming, storming, performing. Nice little jingle. There's another one at the end, adjourning, that was recently added. So can you tell us about GDQ as a development model? And self-disclosure, I've used GDQ a lot myself in working with groups. And what I like about it is it seems to be the latest and greatest, and truly the greatest, theory out there now.
And it's funny that you say that, because we can almost start there with, is it the latest and the greatest? And there's a lot of people that ask me, what's the latest within team development? Like, we've heard of Susan Whelan, but she was active in the 90s. So what's the latest? And if you want research informed and valid and robust data, then Susan Whelan is the latest. And I think it's funny. Our research lead David, he usually says, do you want new or do you want true? Because yes, there are obviously more models used right now, but they're not researched, because research takes time. Right. So the research that Susan Whelan did in the 80s and the 90s is the latest in that sense. So the question is, do you want new or do you want true? But if we're back to Tuckman and where it all started, this is in the 70s when Tuckman did his research at universities in, if I'm not mistaken, California in the US. What Susan Whelan did was she took the the data and the model that Tuckman developed on students at the university, and tested it and tried it on real teams. So surgery teams, teams working in different hospitals, schools, teacher teams, but also in the finance sector, in manufacturing, etc., etc. And what she did was really exciting and easier today with AI, but back in the days, she recorded and tagged whatever people said to each other, how they said it, and recorded them on video.
Wow.
Mapped it towards the different stages and came up with a model that's quite similar to Tuckman's. It's called the Integrated Model of Group Development, where the first stage is oh my God, said this so many times, dependency and inclusion, where you have the first stage, members rely heavily on their leader, they focus on safety, they're very tentative and polite, they can be engaged in sort of low-key sort of subgroups. They work with a lot of pseudo things that's not related to the goals of the team, and the goals can be very unclear. That's even the purpose of the team. Second stage then being counterdependency and fight. It's just exactly what it sounds like. It's disagreements. It's over goals, procedures, roles. A lot of conversations around what's my role. And this is a really important stage where you have the opportunity to build trust and clarify norms. Then we're moving to trust and structure. And this is where something happens. So if stage 1 and 2 is 80% focused on relationship and 20% on task, then trust and structure, this starts to shift. This is where we're moving over to 80% focus on work and productivity and 20% on task. So trust and structure, there's safety, there's trust, we rely on each other, everybody knows what they're doing, what roles we have. There's a completely new level of communication, group or team cohesion, roles and responsibilities, well established. Very nice stage to be at, and sometimes even harder to move over than to work and productivity, which is the last stage and sometimes referred to when you're in this stage as you're being a high-performing team. This is when the team has optimized pretty much everything. So they can give tasks based on skills rather than roles. They're moving fast. They're having fun. They're having healthy debate and disagreement. And the focus is very little on relationship because relationships are established already.
Right.
And sometimes I use the metaphor. There's a couple of different metaphors you can use for this, but it makes sense if you think of a relationship or if you think of a child growing up. So the first sort of, feeling in our relationship is really that sort of safety and inclusion, right? We're in love, everything's working well, we're very polite, we don't pick a fight, we do everything together. No matter if I actually do like that or not, I follow you everywhere, and the opposite. And then we start to we grow up a little bit. We come into our teenage years, or in the relationship, we're starting to find I want to define myself in this relationship. Right. Who am I in this relationship? This is what I like. I don't like that you pack the dishwasher like that. That kind of fighting, really unimportant fighting, right?
Right.
Because we're trying to define ourselves in the relationship, and just as you as a teenager might do with your parents, right? You're picking a fight just because you need to find out who you are. And that's the way to do it. We move into trust and structure in the relationship, and I know that you love to go sailing. You go sailing, have fun, enjoy it. Meanwhile, I'm at home and I'm doing pottery, and that's perfectly fine. We have trust, we have structure, and you might be a young adult at this stage if you're a child or a human growing up. And then we have the work and productivity where everything's just smooth sailing. I do not know if this completely translates to a relationship at this stage.
I love
Because
it.
there might be more health, hopefully there's more healthy debate.
Right.
Right. Yeah. We
You
know
may
each
have
other well.
you may have seen me writing notes madly here because I've got tons of questions for you.
Yeah.
In
Shoots.
stage one, when you say the group is relying on the leader, right?
Mm.
Or that forming stage. So
Yes.
my question is, what happens when you have the leader who wants to enable that? That why get the group going on to another stage because that leader likes to be the controlling leader and you come in as a facilitator and it's like, sure, let's do team development, and the leader says, I think my team needs developing, yet in their mind they're like, oh hell no, we're not going to do this.
We're not going to move over to the next stage.
Right.
I think the most important part of it, if they're really interested in developing the team because they want to become a high performing team, there's nothing to beg for. You just have to do it. And then I think there's a really important place and time for the leadership to be quite directive and safe and clear in stage one, if you have a stage one team, because they need to feel safe with the leader. They need to be very clear on like what their goals are, the purpose of the team, and what the leader expects from them in terms of perhaps growing relationships and getting to know each other to make sure that there's no cliques happening or forming. So the real job for a leader in stage one is to create psychological safety and to make people feel safe enough to start challenging each other, to start asking for clarity on goals, and to have that healthy debate and friction that's needed, tension. And tension exists in all teams, and sometimes it should, because tension also makes us better. But the tension and the disagreement, the conflict that's in stage two, it's necessary for the group development,
And that's
but
exactly
it's not the best of
right.
conflicts. It's not
And
the
that's
healthiest.
exactly where I was going to go with my next question. And that is a lot of facilitators that I have met just are not a fan of
No,
conflict. They would
no.
prefer it not happening. Yet, anyone who knows group development, it's important that to experience that conflict because for me, as uncomfortable as it is, it really helps you get over to that next level of the relationship, if you
Yeah,
call it that.
yeah.
So, how do you help a group
Mm,
accept embracing conflict, managing conflict?
mm. No, I think there's a lot of different perspectives and aspects that you need to consider as a facilitator. If you know you have a team that is in stage two or needs to go to stage two and might even do that during your session, and what to do to help them to get over to stage three. And then also, I think what you just said is very, very important. Then, when you're doing that work, well, first of all, you need to design for it. You need to decide what to do with the team to support them here. But also be very aware and comfortable with being uncomfortable, because they will challenge you. And that's then that's a good sign, you know?
Yes.
Then you know that they're actually challenging someone, and that's part of stage two, and they should be doing that. So what can you do to support them, and maybe obviously not be defensive yourself or feel like a failure yourself as well. Be present, but maybe also coach them, just as you would do with your teenager, without being, putting yourself on a higher horse here,
Right.
um, but understanding their perspectives and coach them, and also then support them to have a discussion around what the topics are.
Mm-hmm.
Creating norms for how to have conversation, how to have healthy debate, so they also feel that it feels okay to have it. Because it's also important to know that conflict takes a lot of energy from a team.
Oh, yeah. Yep,
So there's a big
absolutely.
risk if you just smooth it over that they will go back to stage one and then be tentative and polite with each other, and a lot of things happening under the surface, no one being truly safe. And then the safety will rise, and then they'll go over to stage two, have conflict, feel uncomfortable with that, and go back.
Mm.
And then we have a team that's stuck and that's dysfunctional, that moves
Mm-hmm.
between stage one and two.
So I have heard that in any group development model, it is a process.
Mhm.
And so you get to this work and productivity, and it's this, happy, everything is
Yeah,
lovely.
yeah.
And then, unfortunately, whether it's layoffs or resignations or whatever, someone leaves the team. Now, what I've heard is that gets the team back. It's like that chutes and ladders game, right? You go down
Right back,
the chute
straight
and
to
you head
jail.
back to stage one. What
Yeah,
happens?
there's a couple of things here. First of all, I want to say work and productivity stage four, your high performing team does not mean it's hallelujah all the time.
Mhm.
So stage four team is definitely a team that can be in disagreement and that will challenge each other, but they will challenge each other on task and
Mm.
how to do things. And there's a really high level of trust. So, and I value your opinion. And even if you work in a completely different area, function than I do, I will let you have opinions on what I do and how.
Mm.
And we'll debate it. And there will be friction. So just want to make sure that it's a lot of fun being on a stage four team and a lot of fun. They usually do have a lot of fun as well. But there's also conflict, but health is a rather healthy debate,
Mm.
perhaps.
Yeah.
Uh, no, nothing around relationship. So focus is 80% on that. But yes, so that's, I want to be almost blunt and say that's a myth that a team, or at least it's a both and answer. It's a myth that if one person leaves the team goes back to stage one and you have to start over. According to the research of Susan Whelan, if a team moves back, it needs to be either a trauma, like a big reorg, or that it's losing 50% of the team.
Mm.
That means there's quite a lot of people that can leave the team, and before it actually sort of goes back in their development stage.
Wow. Yeah.
So, and it's always the
Fascinating.
responsibility of the people that are in the team and that's been in the team from the beginning to bring new people on board and move them up to the same stage that they're at.
One of the things that I'm hearing when you speak is I'm imagining the mind of a facilitator going in and doing this work of team development. There, I think, if I'm hearing you correctly, there's this mindset that a facilitator has to have that says, you are the team. It's that giving that space for the team. You
Mm.
are the team, and I'm going to help you sort of move to the next phase, yet I'm really not part of that. And I think that's a really important thing for facilitators, because I
Yeah.
think often facilitators will be like, yay, we all got over conflict and the stress and tension and fight phase. Now let's all go into the trust phase. No,
Mm.
the
No,
team is doing that.
the team is doing that. And that's one thing that I think is really beautiful with GDQ. And just to distinguish then that the integrated model for group development, Susan Whelan, is one thing, and GDQ is a tool that was developed based on her model that measures what stage a team is at. So it's really profound to sort of create that measurement as a baseline. And what she also says is that the team owns the result. The team is a team and has responsibility for the team, and whatever they want to talk about and whatever they want to address based on the result, it's what they need to address. So that's a really important part of facilitating that team, is actually presenting the data that the team owns.
Right.
You don't own it, they own it.
Right.
They've answered to it, the survey, and the result is theirs. And you might have an idea of what they should talk about or address. And of course, you can mirror it back and you can point to it, but it's what they want to talk about and do with the result that is really, matters. And I think a lot of times we get lost in that you have like an end goal with something, and the team is only capable and able to do what they have capability for at that moment.
Right.
And it might be more in a different day at a different stage, or there might be things happening outside the room later on in a meeting, in another conversation. But you're there to, I think, mirror back for them to understand where they're at and to sort of see the dynamics going on in the team. And then based on that, create a plan forward for themselves.
Well,
But it's theirs, it's not yours.
thank you. Speaking of moving forward, I need to move forward and wrap this up. And so I have a question for you, the last question, and that is, because this is a podcast to help facilitators and share your wisdom helping facilitators, what final tips do you have for facilitators who might want to improve their skills in conducting team development? And certainly go learn about GDQ, hop on the internet, they can contact you. Yes. And what can a facilitator do to start making that mental switch from team building to team development?
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, a certification training with us will help anyone to sort of use the tool and to measure a team at the beginning, measure a team at the end of a team development journey. But I think what's most important is to have true, deep, and authentic conversations with the leader, trying to understand where the team is at. If you have the opportunity and the benefit of having also conducting interviews, amazing. I think most teams are quite good at putting words to where they are. I've asked teams plenty of times, where do you think you are? I've had one team not being exactly right. When you present the information, they know. Usually they know. It's just that teams are not very used to putting that mirror on themselves and thinking about their team dynamics. And that's why I think it's so powerful. But back to doing that, I think one of the most important interventions is to create team contracts,
Right.
team forms. I think try to avoid doing things that are just for fun. Be purposeful with what you design for. And if you're understanding where the team is at, just if it's a hunch, more or less, is it a stage 1 team, stage 2 team, 3 or 4? Design from that and think what interventions can I do with this team to help them move one step forward to the next stage?
Wow.
Is it helping them getting to know each other even more, so we can move into stage 2, or is it designing something around role clarity and goals to move them from stage 2 to stage 3? Reviewing structures, perhaps in stage 3, etc. So be purposeful, I would say.
Certainly make yourself aware of the different stages
Yeah.
and what's involved. That's great.
And as a facilitator, I think you'll see if you have this like model in mind, you'll see what's happening in the team, and then you'll understand what's going on and what's at play.
Right. Right. No, it's a great model. I'm biased. You're biased. But still,
Yes,
it's a great
absolutely.
It's a great model. Hedvig, thank you so much for
Thank
your
you.
time, sharing your wisdom. I really, really appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to be here.